We're all a bit obsessed with the idea of genius, right? That spark of innate, almost magical talent. But what if our entire concept of genius is just a myth? What if greatness isn't something you're born with, but something that's meticulously built? Let's dismantle that myth, piece by piece.
We just love to romanticize the brilliant, eccentric artist or the athlete who's just a natural. We see their strange habits, their seemingly effortless skill, and we slap a label on it, genius. It's a really comforting story, sure, but it hides a much more interesting and honestly a much more empowering truth.
But, come on, is that really how greatness is achieved? Is it something you either have or you don't? Or is there a process, a discoverable path that maybe anyone can follow? To find the real answer, we're not going to waste time on myths. We're going to look at some hard data. And specifically, a groundbreaking study on people who are, without a doubt, at the absolute top of their game. Olympic swimmers.
So this sociologist, Daniel Chambliss, spent years embedded with swimmers at every single level, from little local clubs all the way to the Olympic trials. He wanted to figure out what's the secret sauce that separates the good from the truly great. And what he found? Well, it wasn't a secret at all. It was something he called
The mundanity of excellence. I mean, this one idea completely flips our whole concept of greatness on its head. It's not about doing extraordinary things, it's about doing ordinary things, but doing them with extraordinary consistency and care.
So here's what Chambliss figured out, and this is crucial. The best swimmers didn't just swim more laps. That's a quantitative change. You're just adding volume. No, they swam better. That's a qualitative change. They were obsessed with perfecting every tiny detail, their stroke, their turn, their start. He realized that talent was really just a lazy word we use for a process of meticulous, careful construction.
Okay, let's get practical. Think about a swimmer's flip turn. The difference between an Olympian and a pretty good club swimmer might just be a few centimeters of push-off from the wall, or a slightly tighter tuck. It's a totally mundane detail, right? But that tiny, correct step, performed thousands and thousands of times until it's completely automatic, that is what excellence is made of. It compounds over time. All right, so if excellence is really just built on all these tiny, kind of boring actions, how in the world do we make those actions automatic? Well, that's where the science of habit comes in. It's the key to basically programming our brain for success. And you know what? This is not some newfangled idea. Over 2,000 years ago, Aristotle absolutely nailed it. He understood that who we are and what we're good at, it isn't the result of one big choice. It's the sum of all our repeated actions. Excellence is just a consequence of habit.
Modern science basically backs this up with something called the habit loop. It's this super simple 3-step pattern that runs in our brains. First, you've got a cue, which is the trigger. Second is the routine, that's the action itself. And third, you get a reward, which is what tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's remember to do that again.
And get this isn't some small, insignificant part of our lives. Research shows that about 40% of what we do every single day isn't a conscious choice. It's a habit running on autopilot. I mean, from brushing our teeth to how we react in meetings, we are literally creatures of habit. But here's the catch. Habits are kind of delicate. To build a really strong one, you need the right ingredients. The cue needs to be consistent and reliable. And the reward? It has to genuinely satisfy your craving without accidentally undermining your goal. Think rewarding a workout with an hour of guilt-free video games, not a giant pizza that just cancels out all your hard work. Okay, and this is where the real magic happens. You don't need some massive, life-altering transformation. You just need to focus on this one single number, 1%. The goal isn't to be perfect tomorrow. It's just to be 1% better than you were today. This whole idea of focusing on tiny, daily improvements, it creates something psychologists call small wins. A small win is a concrete, complete outcome. So instead of trying to write a whole book, you just focus on writing one good page. This makes huge goals feel manageable and it builds momentum because those small wins, they compound silently into something truly extraordinary. Okay, so building habits is the how, but what about those days when you just really don't feel like it? We've all been there, right? Well, that's when we have to talk about the real fuel for consistency. We're always told it's motivation. But what if that's just another myth? So let's break this down. Let's put these two forces head to head. Motivation. It's an emotion. It's fickle, unreliable.
It comes and goes with your mood. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision. It's a commitment you make to your process no matter how you feel. Success, it turns out, favors those who act first and just let motivation catch up whenever it feels like it.
You know, a perfect metaphor for this is just skipping rope. It's a simple, pretty mundane exercise. There's no glamour in it, but it demands repetition, rhythm, and discipline, and it builds endurance, coordination, and mental toughness through sheer, boring consistency. And this whole thing, it reveals a really powerful mindset. It's about understanding that doing a little bit every day beats a heroic effort once a month. It's about doing the work when nobody is watching. It's embracing repetition as the actual path to mastery, and treating failure not as a final verdict on you, but as valuable feedback. You stumble, you learn, you reset, and you keep going.
It all boils down to this, really: trust the process. Success requires trusting that the simple, disciplined actions you take every single day are leading you somewhere important, even when you can't see the progress right away. All right, let's bring all this home. What does this actually mean for you and your own path to excellence, starting right now?
Because this is where true confidence comes from. It isn't wishful thinking or just repeating positive affirmations in the mirror. True, unshakable confidence is an earned outcome. It's the byproduct of knowing you've put in the work, that you've honored the commitments you made to yourself through relentless discipline and preparation. So let's just do a quick recap of the myths we've totally busted today. The reality isn't that you need genius, it's that you need a collection of mundane habits. It's not that you need motivation to act, it's that you need discipline. And success isn't one giant leap, it's the quiet, compounding sum of thousands of small, consistent wins. See, this puts all the power squarely back in your hands. Excellence isn't some lottery you have to win, it's a choice you make, over and over again, through the habits you decide to build. So the only question left is, what's the first ordinary action you're going to start doing with extraordinary consistency?